I don't know if you knew this from my natural good looks and my terrible English accent, but I'm Latin American, and naturally we have many of our own original television shows. From telenovelas to cartoons, we have it all. However, I have seen so many people that aren't Latin American diss some of the shows in Latin America, but as a person who grew up watching these shows, while I understand where they are coming from, most of the criticisms aren't pretty nitpicky and don't really get the show, like most Latin Americans don't understand English quotes. Sure, I understand the hate for some Latin American shows, and then there's some other shows that I definitely don't think deserve the hate. One of those shows is a little known show in Latin America called El Chavo, or some of you fucking degenerates want to call it in English, The Boy. But before we open that can of worms, first I need to tell you the story of a man, and that man is none other than...
Me da una curiosidad bárbara, pero no me voy a apresurar. Lo que Dios quiera, porque sí, tiene que existir un Dios.
Pero que para eso esperemos muchos años todavía.
Gracias.
Me imagino que el día que sea, entonces va a haber un chapulín colorado de arriba, un Chespirito, va a haber más, y van a ser otros más
Van a
allá.
tener que aguantarme allá. Ya es mucho, ¿no?
Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce you to Mr. Roberto Gomez Bolaños, more commonly known as Chespirito, who was an American comedian, actor, screenwriter, director, and producer. He is widely regarded as one of the icons of Spanish-speaking humor and entertainment, as one of the greatest and best comedians of all time. Chespirito was discovered as an actor while waiting in line to apply for a job as a writer. Soon he began writing and starring in children's comedy shows. Chespirito's first show was Los Supergenios de la Mesa de la Cuadrada, a sketch comedy show that was premiered in 1968. The show also starred Ramon Valdez, María Antonieta de las Nieves, and Rubén Aguirre. Oh my god, changing my fucking accent to Spanish and English is gonna be so hard, Jesus Christ. However, one of his most well-known series was in fact El Chavo's sister series, El Chapulín Colorado. In El Chapulín Colorado, he played a good-hearted superhero who got involved in humorous situations. Fun fact, Mac Groening, the creator of The Simpsons, said that he created the Bumblebee Man character after watching El Chapulín Colorado in a motel on the United States-Mexico border. The show was created around 1972, and in the same year, Chespirito would make history, as he would create one of the most memorable Latin American shows of all time. And what's the name of this show? I don't know, I just keep forgetting. Sadly, on November 28, 2014, Chespirito died from heart failure due to complications of Parkinson's disease at the age of 65. In the end, Chespirito has been described as one of the most recognizable Mexican comedians of the 20th century, as well known and honored to be one of the best comedians in Latin America. And let me tell you, his legacy will never be forgotten.
Este es el programa número 1 de la televisión humorística, El Chavo.
Well, here we are, the original series that most Latin Americans know and love. But why did this show become so popular? Well, there are many reasons. So before that, let's start with a history lesson. El Chavo is a Mexican television sitcom produced by Televisa. It was aired independently series on February 26, 1973, and it was finalized on January 7, 1980, with no real series finale. The show follows the adventures of the titular character El Chavo and his friends, with often caused conflict of a comedic nature between the other inhabitants of a fictional low-income housing complex, or as they call it in Mexico, La Vecindad. The thing I absolutely love about this show are the characters and how much personality they have, like El Chavo being the bit stubborn but kind-hearted orphan, Kiko being the cocky, spoiled brat who's also a big crybaby, Ñoño being the smart fat kid who's the son of the owner of La Vecindad. But for as much as the kids are the center of the attention of the show, the adults have as much personality and screen time, like Doña Florinda being the hardworking mother who has a short temper. In other words, my mom, Professor Girafales, being pretty much the male version of Doña Florinda, and of course, we cannot forget about the GOAT himself, Don Ramon. Oh my god, this dude is such a legend, like, Jesus Christ. But not only are the characters good, but the comedy is also great. The show's episodic, but also a slapstick show, and honestly, it works here. Best thing about the jokes are how they're built up. Whether it's a small joke like calling Ñoño fat, or seeing Doña Florinda hit Don Ramon, or jokes that are built up from time to time to see a big build up at the end. What I love about the show the most here is the amount of heart it has. The show explores the problems that many homeless children face on a daily basis, such as hunger, sadness, loneliness, and a lack of adult supervision and attention, but it still manages to be comedic. In one episode, for example, El Chavo was sitting on a stairscape of La Vecindad at night, dreaming of all the toys he wished he would have and how he played with them. In the end, he would return to the present, sighing wishfully, and then he would return to his balero, which is the toy version of a regular basis, where it was made of a stick, a tin can, and a piece of string. You begin to play with it, and the camera slowly fades away. Some of the episodes also have educational endings. For example, that it's good to take a shower and not to judge a book by its cover, because in the end, this show is still made for kids. But one of the best episodes that depicts the heart and the comedy of this show is the 3-part special Vacaciones en Acapulco. And this is honestly the only episode I see working as a series finale to the show. Let me tell you, it's better than the original idea that Chespirito had. Like, El Chavo fucking dies in his finale. Like, what? The fuck? Thankfully, they didn't do it. Wait a second. How many episodes does El Chavo have? Wait, let me look. 290? Jesus! Well, I'm gonna call a couple of people to give their thoughts about this show. I'm gonna be right back.
Hey man, it's your boy DDubMan, a review your life. A black man that somehow knows about this 70s Mexican sitcom. And to answer that confusion for you real quick, let's say that whenever you didn't have cable back in the day, Telemundo was your best friend. El Chavo used to rerun all the time back in the early 2000s. And let me tell you, I didn't understand a damn thing in it, but boy, was it hilarious. And let me explain why. The expressive acting from all the characters was all you had to take in. Like, they were literally speaking with their bodies, with everything that they did. So the language barrier kinda didn't mean anything. I knew what Chavo was saying. I knew what Kiko was saying. And we all knew what Don Ramon was saying. His deadpan expressions was giving the show life as it is. To simplify the show's dynamic, just think about SpongeBob messing with Squidward in Mexico. That's literally what it is. Sure, there's other characters too, but I'm just here for Don Ramon. We're all here for Ramon.
Alright, so I'm not gonna lie here, I'm more excited to talk about El Chavo Animado than I was talking about the live action series. Like, El Chavo Animado was the thing that I absolutely grew up with. Hell, I'm even confident enough to say that this was, in fact, the first cartoon that I ever watched. So, with that being said, is it as good as I remember? It's okay. Like, I'm not gonna lie and say that I definitely remember it being better, but yeah, this is like an overall mediocre cartoon. Definitely a 5 out of 5, but like, alright, so let's just discuss it. Alright, so season 1 is just basically a recreation of the live action show, but like in animation. And I'm going to be completely honest, I prefer the live action one, mostly because they're funnier. Like, I'm not saying that the jokes in the animated show are bad, but they're definitely hit or miss. Speaking of which, let's talk about the animation. And the animation is done in Flash, and oh boy, that definitely shows. And I'm going to be completely honest, I actually like the animation in this show. Yeah, call it nostalgia all you want, but like, the jankiness, while being kind of dated, still kind of has a charm to it. And the designs are really good and stay true to the live action counterparts. But one thing I will say about is the fact that the 3D animation, like the shots of like La Vecindad and stuff, looks really, really bad. Then season 2 came out and just kind of became weird. Like, I remember there being one episode where like Chavo goes to like this fair with La Vecindad, and then like he meets some scientist guy, and then he takes him to like the future, and then it just becomes weird. Like, the show becomes really weird like throughout season 2, and I absolutely love it. But however, the show is okay. Like, it's still Chavo at the end of the day. It still maintains the heart and just everything about the original show. And if I'm going to be completely honest, I actually prefer this version of Vacaciones en Acapulco than the live action one. Well, just by a tiny bit, even though that's just nostalgia speaking. But overall, El Chavo Animado is pretty okay. I definitely recommend watching the live action show more than this animated one. But if I'm going to be completely honest, even with all the criticism I gave it, I still recommend giving it a watch. Except the English dub. The English dub is fucking awful. Like, did you see the names they gave these characters? Don Ramon became Mr. Raymond. What? And then Doña Florinda became Mrs. Worthmore? What the fuck? When I was entering to make this video, I thought I was just reviewing the animated series and then just calling it quits. But then after watching the animated show yet again, I wanted to watch the live action show. And then after that, I resparked a bit of nostalgic joy that I haven't felt in a long while. It felt great watching these stories and these characters yet again. I love El Chavo, and after making this video, not only do I think that El Chavo isn't an ordinary series anymore, but to me at least, El Chavo is not only one of Latin America's finest, but one of Latin America's best.
Este es el programa número 1 de la televisión humorística, El Chavo.
Buenas noches, papito.
Hasta mañana.
Buenas noches, Chavo. Buenas noches, vecindad.
Tears falling down at the party. Saddest little baby in the